Hey guys, welcome back. In the last video, we actually created a nice little beginning impact sound for when Link draws his sword back. I call it an impact because we mostly use impact sounds here, even though there is a slide in here. I'm going to try and call these out by the animation that appear rather than the sound effect quality themselves, although it might be useful, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, we have this nice little drawback sound. Right now, the sound is better than the original sound that I created. And if I mute this original slide sound, the one that emphasizes the drawback, you'll hear that it actually is pretty necessary to add this slide sound. This is called an anticipation sound, and it's something that's really useful when we create sound effects because it kind of helps excite the listener that a bigger sound is going to be coming down the line. And it's actually a great way to use storytelling with our sound design because our anticipation sound, we don't actually have to resolve it with a high-pitched sound effect or a full, complete sound effect that they're expecting. We can just leave it here, and then they don't hear that sound, and it's sometimes a good thing because we don't want them to feel complete, and that might be a cool emotional game design mechanic that could be used in a game. So sound design can actually help dictate a little bit of game design and a little bit of player feedback. Fun fact. So we are going to actually create the ending sound. You'll see that there's one more little right there, that little, you see that sparkle that shows up. Beautiful animation. We're going to create that little sparkle, and we're also going to do a little bit of the same drawback. So we could actually go ahead and copy the sound over. Actually, you just right click and drag and then hit control, and then we can actually drag this over here. It'll work, but we want to use fresh source recordings because we are true sound designers. And I'm going to start off by just listening to our sounds here. I'm just going to start somewhere in the middle here. That's actually exactly what I needed. So I'm going to listen to that, drag that up just one. And let's drag this guy up a little bit. Ooh, I like that one a lot. You hear that it had a little bit more ring than the last one? Actually, no, they both had a little bit of ring. Let's use both of those. Let's see if we can implement both of those. You know what, that'll work for now. Let's just try these three. And we are going to do a little trick. First, we need to cut out the beginning of the sound. We want to have it meet our transient exactly. We're going to highlight all of these and hit Control-Shift-N. Now they are all normalized, and that means, obviously, that our sound is at its loudest possible volume for each audio file. And we're going to sync up each of these. You can actually see by the waveform which one is which without even having to hear it. These ones are the direct impacts, and this one is one of the slide sounds. You can see it by the waveform because it kind of ramps up a little bit. So we're going to actually layer this right at the start of the animation. You can see that little shine for a moment. So we're going to line that up there, and then we're going to have this one lead up to the impact sound here. And actually, you know what? This is going to work out pretty well. We are going to have the same effect. We're going to reuse the same effect at the start and the end. So let's go ahead and listen to how this sounds. Sounds pretty good, but obviously it's a little bit messy and it doesn't sound too clean. So adding our fades are going to be really important here. So it's not as, I want it to be a little bit more high pitched, so I'm going to actually create one new track here. And we are going to find one more little high pitched tink sound. Sound design is so difficult to describe, but we're calling it a tink sound. I think we could use, ooh, that one's pretty good. Ooh, actually, let's get one of these guys. I liked how that one sounded. We're going to normalize this one as well, so it's just as loud as our other guys. It's still a little bit quiet here. And you can see here that it actually doesn't nearly hit our meter. We want it to be as loud as possible. So actually, let's see how this one sounds. You know what we're going to do? We are actually going to add a pitch shifter to this. Let's go ahead and loop our sound here. Check our pitch shifter. Cool, so now we have our pitch shifter activated on this effects track. Let's go ahead and put that on loop and just listen to the sound while we edit the pitch shifter. Cool, I think that sounded pretty good. It's a little bit quiet, so I'm going to actually boost the volume a little bit here. A little bit louder. Cool, and I'm going to actually also add an equalizer, because I feel like the frequencies aren't being enhanced how I want them to. And I'm going to take this third band here, and I'm going to enhance the 5K range. And we're going to thin that out as well. The 5K range isn't working, but you can definitely hear the enhanced high-pitchedness of the sound here when I add it to the 10K range. You can hear the difference when I bypass it. Before, after. Before, after. Pretty cool. And it looks like we're clipping. Nope, we're good. So let's listen to all of that together. Let's mute it to see if it actually makes a difference. Not really, it's pretty quiet. You know what? I think there are some qualities in this sound that I like better. Let's go ahead and listen to this one a little bit. I think I like this sound specifically better for the ending, so I'm going to actually swap these two here. Because we want the ending to be the most satisfying part of the sound, so. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Okay, so you see what I did there? I just simply swapped the two sounds because this source recording here is a little bit higher pitch and it's a little bit more, it has a little bit more of a quick attack to it, which actually helps it be a little bit more punchy and a little bit more satisfying. And if we listen here, that one's really kind of weak in terms of a punchy sound effect. And we kind of want it to all lead up to this ending little bit here. We want to tell a story. We want the final, him completing this spin attack sound effect to be extremely satisfying. So we want to swap that, basically. Cool. That's actually turning out really well. And before we end it, actually, let's go ahead and just name these files. I'm going to call this High Tink. Okay, so because these ones both are technically the same exact track, because neither of them have effects, I'm just going to swap these two tracks directly. Cool, so now both of these have a slide sound on it. Cool. The slide is also a big proponent to why this one sounds a little bit more satisfying, because this is a little bit more high-pitched. Typically, if you go from lower pitch and then end on a higher pitch, things are a little bit more satisfying. Think of like the coin sound in Mario or the jump sound in Mario, or even like The Legend of Zelda, da-da-da-da. It always ends on a higher pitch when it starts on a lower pitch, and it creates a more satisfying sound overall. Cool, and then we have this sound here. And while this isn't anything definitive, we're just going to call this High Clink. I know it's not very specific, but then we're going to call this Latch. Yeah, we'll call it Latch. I just call it Latch because it doesn't have a very distinct clank, or it has a little bit more texture to that. It almost sounds like chainmail, so I feel like a Latch kind of sound kind of fits that. So we're going to just name it that. And let's listen to our sound one more time before ending. Awesome. That's turning out really well. So anyways, in the next video, I believe we are going to go over his charge attack or spin attack. It looks like he's just about to burst with energy. He's holding it back. So anyways, I will see you guys then.